My wellish bestie, word on the street is you're going through something emotionally damaging. I'd be willing to bet that nothing anyone does or says is helping, or anything that you come up with in your brain because you're somebody that knows how to manage your anxiety and has been through things before and can usually help themselves when things go wrong. But for whatever reason, this is the thing that you just cannot help yourself to save your life. And all you want is just to feel good again. You're trapped in this emotional whirlwind, trying to problem solve and make meaning of what's happened, trying to control and fix whatever problem you're facing. People are giving you advice. You're implementing all of your self help tools. You're even researching how to heal from the specific thing that you've experienced. But nothing, for the love of God, is quieting the noise going on inside of your head. And all you can think about is if and when you will ever feel good again. And that's why this episode is all about the ultimate tool that will finally make you feel better and move away from that psychotic, obsessive, problem solving, making meaning of what happened to you, controlling and fixing whatever it was that was so emotionally damaging that has you trapped in this ruminating spiral, feeling like you're never going to feel good again. That ultimate tool is focusing on nothing at first, but making you feel safe again. And when you do this, you will slowly but definitely stop ruminating. You'll stop being consumed by thoughts of how you can make it better. You'll have a mantra to rely on when heavy feelings take over. You will start to rewire your perception so that your mindset shifts from something more devastating to something so much more empowering. And most importantly, you will begin to emotionally heal. If anything in this episode resonates with you, please consider rating and reviewing the show. It really does help get Wellish out to more like-minded individuals like you and I that need to live a little bit more wellishly. And if you are a person that wants to finally feel good enough without that weighing pressure of being perfect first in order to feel that way, you're going to want to subscribe. I think it's important to first address why nothing works. Like, why is it that when we're living our average day to day life and we know all of the tools to help us feel better on average, those things work? But when something devastating happens that's completely damaging to our emotional well being, suddenly all of those tools go out the window. It doesn't make sense. But on a day to day basis, obviously, you're going to experience things that trigger certain emotions throughout your life. But for the average part of what you're experiencing, your emotions are pretty neutral. So it allows you to be in more of this growth mindset when you go to implement the tools that you are told to use or you've learned to use. When those things come up, you get triggered and your emotions get spiked. But when something happens that's so emotionally damaging to your well being that you are in this complete space of emotional overwhelm, you are fully almost trapped. You are trapped in survival mode. And survival mode does not respond to logic and advice and the self improvement tools. You are not critically thinking when you're in survival mode. Like your brain, biologically, your prefrontal cortex shuts off when you are in survival mode. Because if you think about what survival mode was made for ancient tons and tons of years ago, is when you are presented with a life or death situation. And there's no time to think when you're in a life or death situation. There's only time to do. So even though you can still physically, logically think and absorb advice and think about the self-improvement tools and try to implement the self-improvement tools, it's not working because that part of your brain is biologically shut off. So that's why advice doesn't land with you or even sit well. Like somebody tries to give you a piece of advice and you just feel like perturbed by it, or like, that thing already. And don't you think I would have tried that by now? Or, like maybe somebody says, like somebody trying to give you advice in general can just end up being triggering when you're already in this emotionally overwhelmed state. You do things like journaling and affirmations and mindset work, and maybe those things make you feel good for like a couple minutes, but it doesn't give you the clarity or the relief that you are looking for, or that like it normally provides you on a regular day-to-day basis. So it leaves you in this loop of replaying absolutely everything that happened in a certain situation, or how you showed up, or what you're feeling, and then you're sifting through and analyzing everything that happened, and you're just trying to figure it all out and make sense of what it is that happened to you so that you can fix it and feel better. A lot of the time, people try to give you advice too because they don't know what to do when you're emotionally overwhelmed and they care about you. So they want to jump in and help you, and help you work through it and fix the problem to help you feel better. But nothing that they say works, or maybe nothing you're reading about online works, or you're inundating yourself with social media advice trying to validate what it is that you experienced. But the truth is, the only person that can validate what you experienced is you, because you're the only one that knows every single fucking detail of what you experienced, and what the truth is, your truth is, and that what happened was not justified and was wrong, and you didn't deserve that treatment. No one knows it like you do. And so when people try to give you advice, or when you try to seek out things to fix it, what works for somebody else might not work for you. And every situation is so specific that you need to be able to feel better on your own. And that's also why what worked for you when you were just experiencing an average upset on a day-to-day basis doesn't work for you while you're experiencing something completely emotionally damaging and overwhelming. And you're just so overly sensitive to everything when you're experiencing something emotionally damaging and overwhelming. Like any advice that somebody says, or honestly, like even it's not even advice. It's just like when you're out in the world and somebody says something, you're just like so easily triggered because you're stuck in this survival mode and you're scanning for all of the threat when you've just experienced something so catastrophic to your emotional well-being. So for all of these reasons, that's why nothing works, because you're so stuck in this survival mode. Something fucked up happened to you, and your brain is trying to understand and comprehend and feel safe again at all costs, no matter what that looks like. Even if it's not doing it in a healthy way, it's, shutting people out, or isolating, or retaliating, or getting angry, or getting upset all the time. Like whatever is happening, it's developing these walls. It's trying to do everything it can to recover from the emotional damage it just experienced. And the logical thing that makes sense to start to heal and move out of this emotional overwhelm and out of this survival mode is to problem solve it and make meaning of it and gain control back and fix the problem. But the issue is that you're skipping steps. You can't do any of those things when you're trapped in survival mode, because there's no logical thinking happening, and your inner voice is so loud that you cannot get quiet enough to hear your intuition so that you can actually start to problem solve and make meaning and gain control and fix the issue. Like that all is stuff that you can do, but you have to allow yourself to get quiet first, and that's what we want to focus on. It's not that you're never going to feel better, it's that you don't feel safe yet. You have to get yourself to feel safe first. And that's when you're going to start to feel better, when you show your body that you are safe right now in this moment. I mean, when you experience something emotionally painful, your automatic response is to seek closure and answers and control and meaning out of what happened, because it doesn't make sense. But you tell me, if you got all those things, like if you got your answers to why it happened, and you got your closure, and you gained control back by justifying to yourself that what happened to you was wrong and you didn't deserve it and you did all of the things right, and so what this shouldn't have happened to you, you're telling me that then you're going to finally feel better about the fact that it happened? No, of course not, because it still doesn't make sense. Like what happened to you was still not okay and still shouldn't have happened. And it never is going to make sense, is the thing, okay? You're never going to understand why what happened to you happened to you. You know why? Because you would never do that thing. You cannot wrap your brain around how someone could hurt you so badly, or how a situation could play out in that way, because you would never be the perpetrator of hurting somebody in that way. And thank God you can't wrap your mind around that. Thank God your brain doesn't work that way. So even if you could make it make sense, you're still not going to feel better because what happened to you was fucked and it shouldn't have happened to you. You didn't deserve it. So because you experienced something bad, like that's the plain and simple fact. Like you just have to accept and confront the fact that this fucked up thing did happen to you. And so, of course, you're going to feel bad, regardless of what meaning you make of it, what answers you get for why it happened, or what closure you receive. And that's why safety is the answer. Making yourself feel safe is the secret ingredient that's going to help turn off that survival mode. Because when you start to feel safe, that rumination, it decreases. That urgency fades. Like you stop obsessing about why it happened or what you could do to fix it. And your brain starts to become more capable of having a fresh perspective, of understanding in not why it happened, but more about who you are and how you want to continue to show up in the world and your role for being in that situation to begin with. Not that it's your fault that that happened, but why were you there? And what can you do differently? What can you learn from that in order to never be in a situation like that ever again? But none of that comes until you make yourself feel safe first. The safety is what will make you feel better. That's what's most important. And once you start to feel better because you start to feel safe, that's when you start to seek clarity and understanding your patterns and understanding how to move forward. Because once your brain gets quiet, you can start to hear your intuition. So, how can we start to focus on feeling safe so that we can start using it as a tool in order to start emotionally healing? It's important to know that all of the clarity seeking and everything you've done thus far is all intellectual. And for this, you have to move away from the intellectual and lean into what physically makes you feel safe and what personally works for you. Not for me, not for your mom, not for your best friend, not for the people on social media. What personally works for you to make you feel safe. So you can do this in 3 ways. First way is physically making yourself feel safe. The second way is by showing yourself you're safe through your environment. And the third way is by telling yourself you're safe through mantras and affirmations. So some physical safety signals that you can use to tell your body that you're not in danger is by doing something warm. So maybe a warm shower or a warm bath or wrapping yourself in a blanket. Bonus points if that blanket is heated or weighted or both. You also can hold a warm drink in your hand and focus on how the warm drink in your hand feels, hot chocolate, coffee, tea, and then focus on how it feels entering your body and moving through your system. All of that is very cozy and comforting. Another thing you can do is sit with your back against a solid surface like a wall or a headboard, something that makes you feel completely supported. You can keep your feet flat on the ground. You can notice the support that you feel under your butt, whatever you're sitting on. Let that be the floor or a cushion or a bed, but making sure you notice that you are physically being supported by the space around you. You can use breathing exercises like slow breathing with long exhales. And having that long exhale is what indicates to our brain that we are safe, that it scientifically starts to lessen your fight or flight mode. Because for whatever reason, if you think about if you're in a life or death situation, taking a long exhale, you're not doing that when you're like in this crisis situation. So that long exhale is what tells your brain and your body that you are currently in this moment safe. One that I like to do involving a long exhale also requires a super deep inhale and taking a really deep breath. And then when you're at the top of that breath, taking an extra sip of air and then doing that long exhale. You can physically make yourself feel safe by placing your hands on your body, like on your chest or on your stomach or on your throat, or rubbing your arms, or maybe you pat your chest. One of the exercises that I enjoy is putting my hands almost in like a butterfly position, I think is what it's called, that you have your palms on your heart, but your hands are overlapping, and you tap your hands one at a time on either side of your chest, and that's really helpful. You can move your eyes back and forth to kind of get back inside of your body and connect again with your physiology. You can use massage tools. You can massage your body just like rubbing your legs or rubbing your feet, anything that kind of brings you back into your body and it tells your body that right now you are okay and you're safe. Because again, if you think about what you would do in a life or death situation, what your brain, when it's in survival mode, is designed for, you're not going to be engaging in any of those activities. So by doing those things, it signals to your body that right now, in this moment, you are safe. The second thing you can do is get your environment to reduce stimulation and overwhelm. So you can do that by dimming the lights and not having such like intense overhead or fluorescent lighting. You can have a quiet or soft background sound going on. Go on YouTube and look up jazz or look up just calming music. You can look up sound baths. You can look up vintage music in another room. All of that, you put that on softly in the background, it just makes your environment feel so much more safe and cozy. You can use smell. You can light incense or your favorite candle, and it just makes the room feel a lot safer. You can put yourself in a small contained room, like maybe just being in your bedroom and having the windows closed and the door closed and allowing yourself to be just in a smaller, more controllable space. Something else that helps environmentally is turning your notifications off on your phone, or even maybe placing your phone in a different room entirely and just focusing on doing the things that you have to do in order to make yourself feel safe. Setting yourself up in a nice, cozy environment with your soft music and your dim lighting, and maybe getting some coloring pencils and a coloring book and just doing that, even if that's for 5 minutes, to just calm yourself down. And lastly, you have your internal safety statements. These are going to be your mantras and the things that you're telling yourself in the moment to make you know that you are safe. And a lot of the time, this is kind of the thing that comes first, because your mind is so loud that, at least for me, this is like my first line of defense, is these internal safety statements that I say, I'm safe. I'm okay. Everything's okay. Right now, in this moment, I am safe. Nothing is happening right now, right in this exact moment. Nothing is happening. I don't have to solve this right now. I can just be here in this moment and be okay. Nothing else matters except feeling safe in this moment. I surrender to the process and I trust whatever is in store for me and however this is going to play out. I trust that my experience, and I trust that there's a bigger plan for me, and that I will continue to go with the flow of the process that I'm experiencing thus far. And I always have the opportunity to come back to the problem later. If it's something that's important enough to me, it will come up and I will have the opportunity to solve it. But right now, my focus is on feeling safe. The goal of these 3 tactics is not to make the problem disappear. It's not going to make the issue at hand go away. It's not going to make you feel 100% better instantly. It's to make you feel even 5% safer. Not happier, not healed, safer. I share all of this with you here today because I know exactly how you're feeling right now. And it's the worst feeling in the entire world. And it feels like everything is crashing down around you. And you just want to know when you're going to feel better again, when you're going to feel good again. You remember when you used to feel good and you don't remember the last time that you did. And it's the absolute worst experience. And I am so sorry that you're going through this, because what happened to you was not good. And that person that caused you this pain is not kind. This is not normal, and it was not normal for them to treat you this way. It is not normal what it is that you experienced, even if it wasn't relevant to a person. It was a situation that happened. This is not something that you deserve. You are a good person that does their best and tries their best and always wants to show up for themselves and for other people. I know you're a good person, and I am so sorry that this is the hand that you've been dealt, but it's the hand you've been dealt because you are going to be so much fucking better for it. And I know that's so annoying to hear right now, but God, it's the fucking truth. Like, take it from somebody who's come out on the other side. This is happening for a reason, and you're not going to know that reason yet. And it's not your job to figure out that reason yet. Right now, your job is to take care of you for having to deal with what you're dealing with and just make yourself feel as absolutely safe as you can. And you are going to be so happy and proud of yourself for doing that. That's it for today's episode. I really hope it was able to give you a really crucial and important tool to implement when your brain is taking over in response to something emotionally damaging that is happening in your life right now. Wednesday, I'm talking to Cedric Bertelli about resolving emotional patterns. And if you're someone that wants to understand how they got themselves in a situation that left them so emotionally wrecked and make sure that that never happens again, you're going to want to tune in to Wednesday's episode. I love you endlessly. You are so strong. You are so resilient, and I have your back. I love you so much, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.